Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes Sri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. So I think today whose turn is it? Radha Pyar Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I think so. I messaged her. She was not able to join. I'll read Prabhuji.
Sure. You're okay, Mataji? Or one of us can read also? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm okay, Prabhuji.
Okay.
I can read.
Yeah, please go ahead, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna to all dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. Bhagavate uttama shloke bhaktir pavati naisruti. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 14, Text 37. 1 second. Text 37. Simply by administrating comforts at the lotus feet of the Lord, which is the most important of all the service, the queens at Dwaraka, headed by Satyabhama, induce the Lord to conquer the demigods. Thus, the queens enjoy things which are prerogatives of the wives of the controller of the thunderbolts. Text 38. The great heroes of Yadu dynasty, being protected by the arms of Lord Sri Krishna, always remain fearless in every respect, and therefore their feet trample over the Sudharam assembled house, which is the best demigod deserved, but which was taken away from them. Text 39. My brother Arjuna, please tell me whether your health is all right. You appear to have lost your bodily luster. Is this due to the other disrespecting and neglecting you because of your long stay at Dwaraka? Text 40th. Has someone addressed you with the unfriendly words or threatened you? Could you not give charity to one who asked, or could you not keep your promise to someone? Text 41. You are always the protector of the deserving living beings, such as brahmanas, children, cows, women, and the deceased. Could you not give them protection when they approach you for the shelter? Text 42. Have you contacted a woman of impreachable character, or have you not properly treated a deserving woman, or have you been defeated on the way by someone who is inferior or equal to you? Text 43. Have you not taken care of the old man and the boy who deserved to dine with you? Have you left them and taken your meal alone? Have you committed some unpardonable mistake which is considered to be abominable? Text 44. Or is this that you are feeling empty for all time because you might have lost your most intimate friend, Lord Krishna? Oh, my brother Arjuna. Thus, I can think of no other reason for your becoming so dejected. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 14, entitled The Disappearance of Lord Krishna. Next, continuing with Chapter 15, The Pandavas Retired Timely. Text 1. Sutta Goswami said, Arjuna, the celebrated friend of Lord Krishna, was grief-stricken because of his strong feeling of separation from Krishna. Over and above all, Maharaj Yudhishthira, speculative inquiries. Text 2. Due to grief, Arjuna's mouth and lotus-like heart had dried up. Therefore, His body lost all luster. Now, remembering the Supreme Lord, he could hardly utter a word in reply. Text 3. With great difficulty, he checked the tears of grief that streamed his eyes. He was very distressed because Lord Krishna was out of his sight and he increasingly felt affection for him. Text 4. Remembering Lord Krishna and his well wishers, benefaction in intimate familiar relationship and his character and his chariot driver Arjuna, overwhelmed and breathing very heavily, began to speak. Text 5. Arjuna said, O king, the supreme personality of Godhead, Hari, who treated me exactly like an intimated friend, has left me alone. Thus my astounding power, which astonished even the demigod, is no longer with me. Text 6. I have just lost him, whose separation, whose separation for a moment would render all the universe unfavorable and void like bodies without life. Text 7. Only by his merciful strength was I able to vanquish all the lusty prince and assembled at the place of King Drupada for the selection of the bridegroom. With my bow and arrow, I could perish and fish, target, and thereby gain the hand of Draupadi. Text 8. Because he was near me, it was possible for me to conquer with great dignity of the powerful king of the heaven. Indradeva, along with his demigod associate, and thus enabled the fire god to devastate the Khandava forest, and only by his grace was the demon named Maya saved from me the blazing Khandava forest, and thus we could build our assembly house of wonderful architectural workmanship where all the princes assembled during the performance of Rajasuya Yagna and paid your tributes. Text 9. Your respectable younger brother, who possessed the strength of the 10,000 elephants killed by his grace, Jarasandha, whose feet were worshipped by the many kings. These kings had been bought for the sacrifice in the Jarasandha's Mahabhairava Yajna, but they were thus released. Later they paid tribute to your majesty. Text 10. It was he only who loosened the hair of all the wives of the miscreant who dared open the chester for your queen hair, which has been nicely dressed and sanctified for the great Raja Surya sacrificial ceremony. At that time, she fell down at the feet of Lord Krishna with tears in her eyes. Thank you, Prabhuji. I'll stop here. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Madhuri. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Sundaracala Prabhu, whenever you're ready, you can start, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji, for reading. Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, today we will continue the a summary of the disappearance of Lord Krishna, chapter 14 from Canto 1, and we'll also discuss about the subsequent chapter, the Pandavas' retired time day. We'll start with a brief prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnana Shalaka Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamahyam Dadati Supadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudhapatakalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Saprajatam Savanaraghunathanvikam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Dev Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Shahe Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dena Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrshabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Pari Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Putale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshtarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. So, dear devotees, I have no qualification in any measure to share my summary. I would do it for my own purification and for learning purposes. If I have done any mistake in my explanation, please let me know at the end of the session. Thank you. The Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 14. So, verse number 37 is a continuation of the disappearance of Lord Krishna, where Arjuna was present in front of Yudhishthira Maharaj, and Yudhishthira Maharaj was observing the lamentation, and that Arjuna is looking so grief-stricken. So, in a continuation of that subject, here in verse 37, it was mentioned, serving the Krishna's lotus feet is the main activity. And this glorification was specifically meant for the Satyabhama and the queens who have, who have served Lord Krishna very nicely, and which qualified them to become so dearmost to the Krishna, and also it qualified them to receive the comforts of heaven, even which are not available in any earthly realm, which are available only in the heavenly realms. So one of the principal queens is Satyabhama, and she once visited Indraloka along with her husband, Lord Sri Krishna, and Sachi Devi introduced mother of demigods Aditi to her. And pleased with Satyabhama, she bestowed permanent youth for her. And there she saw Parijata flower, and she desired. She came back to Dwaraka, and Parijata, she desired to have Parijata flower in her palace. So similar, what happened was, and again later, Sri Krishna has fulfilled this desire by getting the Parijata forcefully from the heavenly kingdom. And Draupadi, she wanted to meet Draupadi because she was anxious to be instructed by her, because she was expert in serving her husband, and she was serving the Pandavas. So in order to learn from her on how to serve Lord Sri Krishna in a much better way, she approached her. So Draupadi, so basically, Satyabhama is a daughter of Satyajit. So Arjuna, at a later stage, what happened was Arjuna visited Dwaraka, and the queens, by the time Krishna left, and the queens are lamenting for the Lord with a great feeling. At that stage of life, even Satyabhama and Satyabhama has left for forest to undergo severe penance. So if we look at what she was able to achieve, she instigated her husband to get Parijata flower, and Krishna behaved as if he's a common husband, secured things that she desired. But because the queens accepted the high quality of devotional service, which is Lord arranged all comforts, Lord played the part of faithful and complete husband. And it is very important to note that no earthly creature can expect to have heavenly things of heavenly kingdom, like Parijata flowers used by demigods. As the Lord is the proprietor of everything within this creation, it is not very, Prabhupada says, it is not very astonishing for the queens of Dwaraka to have a rare thing from any part of the universe. The next verse, text 38, it is described Yadu's greatness of Yadu heroes. And they took the shelter of the hand, the shoulders, the strength of Lord Sri Krishna. It was described here. Those who are directly servitors of Lord are protected by him, and all the fearfulness will arise out of protection by Lord. So here we can observe, even if this Sudharma assembly house, which was forcefully brought from heavenly realm, despite of this forceful accumulation, the Yadus did not undergo any suffering or any anxiety, because they were fearless, because they are under Krishna's protection. Point to be noted. So Dwaraka is enriched with the best of things, equal to heavenly realms, or even better than that, like state assembly house, Sudharma. And no matter how materially advanced we are, we cannot expect the same to be happening in any earthly state. It is mentioned by Prabhupada. So Lord is providing the best of the things from the universe for his pure devotees. And Lord Krishna provided protect. And here there is an analogy given that a forgetful conditional soul is fearful. So the fearlessness which comes by the protection of Krishna, the opposite to it is fearfulness. The fear comes because of forgetfulness of conditioned soul, Prabhupada says. And liberated soul is never fearful, just as a small child has taken shelter under his parents and mother. Similarly, the devotees who have taken shelter under Lord Sri Krishna are fearless. And Prabhupada also gives a nice analogy here, where person may be fearful of a tiger in a dream, but as soon as he is awake, there's no tiger, so he realizes that, and he's immediately doesn't undergo any fear. Similarly, a man forgetful of his awakened life is fearful that tiger is there, whereas a man who has not forgotten his position is not at all fearful. So this is so since the members of Yadu dynasty are fully awake of their position and service to the Lord, they are fearless. And the next few verses, it describes 10 causes of dejection that Maharaj Yudhishthir inquires from Arjuna, seeing his condition. So, and most of them were actually speculative inquiries. And first question that Yudhishthir asks Arjuna, is your health all right? Were you disrespected or neglected due to your long stay at Dwaraka? This is the first question he asks. And he is actually thinking from all angles of vision before he could conclude, oh, something might have happened to Krishna. He doesn't want to that to happen. So he is not really getting there. He's trying to inquire on other angles. And and as long as Lord Krishna himself was there, nothing inauspicious could happen. So this is the primary belief of devotees, like Yudhishthir. Second question that he asked is, were you addressed with unfriendly words, threatened by anyone? Did you fail to give charity that you have promised? Because for Kshatriya, it will be subject to criticism if he cannot meet his promise of charity. And similarly, also a saintly Kshatriya, he himself will be doing it because he retrospects his own behavior every now and then. And when he has promised a charity, he will definitely ensure that he will meet it at any cost. And next Yudhishthira asked, could you not protect deserving candidates like Brahmanas, whom need protection, like Brahmanas, children, cows, women, or the deceased, when they have taken your shelter? Were you unable to save or protect them? That's the next question he asks. So for that question, Prabhupada says royal order will be anxious to know about these discrepancies. Like Yudhishthir is trying to know that this kind of discrepancy is actually is not so good for a saintly king. Like so he is ensuring that these discrepancies are not happening, like that deserving candidates must be protected at all costs. Next question was, have you contacted women of impeachable character? Have you improperly treated a deserving woman? Have you been defeated by someone who is inferior to or equal to you? These are the three questions which were asked in text 42. Have you, so for the first question, have you contacted a woman of impeachable character? So here it is mentioned that by Prabhupada that during those days where kings were allowed in certain conditions to be free contact between men and women based on certain regulations. Brahmana, Kshatriyas could accept a woman of Vaishya and Shudra community. So there's a technical term called Anuloma and Pratiloma. So as per the injunctions of our Shastra, Anuloma marriage, where higher Varna can marry the lower Varna, but the condition is that the man must be always in the higher Varna, and as long as that condition is met, it is allowed. It's called Anuloma marriage, and Pratiloma marriage is prohibited. And it is also mentioned that the reason why a Brahmana woman cannot be married by a man who is of lower order and social order is because a Brahmana's woman is like a wife of a Brahmana is like one of the 7 mothers, along with the cow, nurse, earth, wife of a king, wife of a Brahmana, one's own mother, wife of a spiritual master, a teacher. And Bhima, there were several examples. Please go through the purport when you have some time. Like Bhima has married Hidimbi, and when he was approached. Similarly, Vyasadeva has progenited Pandu and Dhritarashtra, and similarly Satyavati, she was a fisherman's daughter. She gave birth to Vyasadeva, and also there are so many examples that actually gives confirms the bona fide injunction of Anuloma marriage. And here the second question which was asked, one of the 3 questions in this verse where have you improperly treated a deserving woman is, you can understand from the Hidimbi approaching Bhima. So that is one of the examples where he was trying to understand if Arjuna has not followed that principle. Have you been defeated by someone who is inferior or equal to you? Here there is a higher principle that that was also explained here. For example, Virat Maharaj who has asked, can you marry Uttara to Arjuna? And whereas Arjuna responded saying, she is my student, I cannot marry her, but you can give your daughter to Abhimanyu, my son. And similarly, when Arjuna was approached by Urvashi, and he responded saying, you are like my mother. I saw you sitting beside Indra, who is like my father. And it is logic and it is not good. And for that, Urvashi responded back saying, it is what you're saying is not logical in heavenly realms. For that, Arjuna says, it is logical in Bhumandal. Maybe it is not logical in Swargalok, but it is logical in Bhumandal. He responds like that. So we can understand how he respected Urvashi and Uttara in his dealings. You can observe the character of Arjuna versus, so that the point why we are discussing this is, have you been defeated by someone who is inferior or equal to you? So because here Karna is equal in valor and abilities to Arjuna, pretty much close. But here the character is being compared with Arjuna and Karna. He cannot even come close to Arjuna. So whereas Arjuna is respecting the woman in these two examples that I've explained, whereas Karna has insulted Draupadi, calling her a prostitute. And whereas and another example that we can compare is Karna has cheated his guru Parashurama, whereas Arjuna has served Duryodhana very faithfully. So these are the comparisons we can derive. So text 43, the couple of more questions. Have you taken your meals alone without feeding others or older people and children? Have you committed some abominable, unpardonable mistake? These are the two other questions. Here we can observe that the duty of householder, Prabhupada says, is to first feed all children, all members of family who are living in the household. And there is a custom in the olden day, somewhere in Prabhupada purport, it was mentioned that a grihastha is supposed to even go out and clap and ask if there is no hungry people who are looking for food, ensure that they have got food in case if there are any, and then come and have his prasadam. So that is the principle given by Prabhupada based on this question asked by the Yudhishthir. Hungry men. So, oh yeah, it is in this purport only, sorry. And if we can think about why did Vidura not answered about the next, because the next point was that finally Yudhishthira is concluding. So since Arjuna did not respond or acknowledge to any of his answers questions so far, Yudhishthira finally concludes thinking that maybe because Krishna has disappeared. Krishna finally asks about it in this question. So if we can observe, why did Vidura not answer the same question about Yadus and Krishna, that Krishna has disappeared, Yadus have fought with each other, and they also left the world. Why did Vidura not answer this question? Because Vidura doesn't want to cause hurt, because he's a Vaishnava, he's very gentle in nature, and he didn't want to disturb the mindset of Yudhishthira at that point, so he did not reveal that. Here, and he also mentioned, as long as, if you remember, Narada also visits Yudhishthira, where Narada also gives a hint saying, as long as Krishna is there, like that he hints, you can be around, Pandavas, you Pandavas can be around, or you leave the kingdom, like that he hints. And there were several symptoms of Kali Yuga. And finally we have seen the dejected face, Yudhishthira has seen the dejected face of Arjuna. So these are the sequence of events happened. As you can observe, Arjuna's situation, despite of having intelligence, emotions often get overwhelmed even a advanced bhakta, and philosophical logic and analysis will take back seat at that time. It doesn't help us. So at that time, we have to take shelter of Vaishnavas, senior Vaishnavas, and our mentors in order to get back to our consciousness. This is the principle that we can derive there. Going to the 15th chapter. So Arjuna's strong feelings of separation were described in verses 1 to 6. Hearing Yudhishthira's speculative questions, Arjuna seems to be frustrated and dejected, that is what I explained in the verse number 1, where Arjuna is frustrated by speculative questions. Second, Arjuna was due to grief, it was symptoms of Arjuna's lamentation were described here. And text number 3, he could not check his tears. He tried to control. He was so much overwhelmed with the separation of Lord Krishna, who is no longer in his visible sight. That is what explained in text number 3. As you can see in text number 4, he's trying to remember Krishna and his dealings with Krishna as a friend, which is Sakya, a wishing friend, as a Maitrin, who is a Sakya mixed with a Dasya Bhava, as a Sahruda, and he's remembering Krishna as in a Sahruda Bhava, which is a Sakya mixed with Vatsalya Bhava. He's not only because Krishna tied Arjuna with his, with Subhadra's marriage much closer, and he became so close to Krishna. He had a personal relationship with Krishna that made this lamentation more and separation more intense. So loss of powers. Text number 5. So Arjuna is saying, Vanchitoham Maharaja Harina Bandhurupina Yena me apahrutam tejo Deva Vishwapana Mahat. This is the verse for today. That if you have some time, please read this purport. This is very important purport where Prabhupada has given so many principles for us. This is 15th chapter, verse number 5. Please read this purport where Prabhupada says, no one. So here it is mentioned that he appeared like an intimate friend to me and he left me alone. Arjuna is saying, my astounding power, which astonished even demigods, is no longer with me, is mentioning. So, as you can remember from Kunti Maharani's prayers, Janmaishwarya Shuta Shribhir Yedhamana Madah Puman. So, those qualifications, material qualifications, will only increase our mada, which means intoxication, and make us pride. And they themselves block our progress spiritually. So, she clearly delineates the important thing here. And skills given for to us are not meant for our sense gratification principle to be derived, and we should never feel proud or puffed up with those skills that were bestowed to us, because they are unfavorable for advancing in spiritually. Even devotional skills like singing, speaking, and nicely able to give a lecture and nicely able to cook for the Lord, nicely able to decorate the Lord. These are all these could be at any point denied, as if we can at any point they can be taken away from us. As a devotee, we should never lament because a service was taken away from us, because there is more qualified youngsters who come up and they will be taking services from us. And at that point, we should never feel lamented, because these skills are never qualifications, or neither qualifications or disqualifications for our entry into to go back to Godhead, Prabhupada says. And so what is these are not really any of these skills, including related to our devotional service skills. Those are not really meant for going back to Godhead. They are only meant for to serve and purify ourselves at that point. But as and when needed, Krishna will either give more skills or take back the service away from us. And just like Ramachandra made Hanuman a hero in Sundarakanda, he has so much role to play. Whereas in the fight with of Kurukshetra, he was given very simple role: just sit on the flag and roar sometimes. That's what this very small service. So we can understand from this example that at any point we could be given a role which is of higher prominence, or it could be lower prominence, or no service at all. And the mood of devotee should be something like insignificant me. In your seva, you have given me your seva, and you have given me at least so far, and made my and fulfilled my life. Thank you so much, dear Krishna, for allowing me to serve you so far. Like that, we should serve. And the only things that remain permanent and come with us are, chanting that Krishna will never take away from us. Second thing, Srimad Bhagavat Shravanam, which Krishna will never take away from us. So these are the two, looking at these permanent things, um, mm, like we can responsibly execute our services without losing hope. These are the constant and permanent things. And also the important one, instructions of Guru is also a permanent thing, which Krishna will never take away from us. And the next verse talks about unbearable separation of Arjuna. Krishna, unbearable separation of Arjuna is because he has a personal relationship with Krishna, and that's why the unbearable separation, the bhava came out of Arjuna in this verse. So in order for getting such bhava, we should start having, first of all, we need to have relationship with Krishna and his associates. So without having that relationship developed, this bhava will never arise in our heart. As you can see, that yasya viyogena loko hi apriya darshana yuktena rahito hi esha mrutaka prochyateta. This is very, very deep prayer of Arjuna, where he is saying, like, uktena rahito hi esha, my body, it is equivalent to your absence is equivalent to, our bodies have become lifeless, like that he was saying. So we can equate that with sunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahiname. He is having such a kind of mood here while praying. So similarly, from verse 7 to 17, Arjuna recalls Lord Krishna favors and an intimate protection, that only by Lord's mercy, in text 7 he mentioned, I won the hand of Draupadi. There are so many envious and lusty kings who are trying to get hold of Draupadi, but despite of that, because Krishna has mercifully bestowed him given him the benediction, he could win the hand of Draupadi. So you can read a nice story of Swayambur of Draupadi in verse of 7. If you have some time, please read that also. Similarly, text number 8, he defeated Indra and offered Khandava forest to Agnidev, and had wonderful assembly hall built by Mayadanava. So Mayadanava took shelter under Arjuna, and with that, Mayadanava, as a token of appreciation or thankfulness, he tried to pay him back by building a hall, some great, wonderful assembly hall. So that is what is mentioned in text number 8. And in text number 8, there is a nice story of Mayadanava. Please have also read that story. And the principle that we can derive, when demons have supernatural powers, Prabhupada says, and that might wonder the people and the world and amaze the society. But demons, like material scientists, could cause disturbance in society by creating something like a nuclear weapon. So, so Lord wanted to kill Mayadanava because he was being disturbance. So despite of that, he did not kill, because immediately he took shelter of Arjuna, his devotee. As soon as he saw that that Mayadanava took shelter of his devotee, Krishna backed off. And what the principle we could derive from this is, Lord will be pleased as soon as we take shelter under a guru, bona fide guru, Vaishnava guru. So it is very important, dear devotees, that it is very nice that we can hear Bhagavatam, go to temple and take association of Vaishnavas, and go to attend the festivals. But very importantly, we must take shelter of Guru in order for getting the mercy of Krishna. So mercy of Krishna flows through Guru only. So here, this is a very important example. Read this purport again, so that we can internalize this mood of why should we get a deep conviction of taking shelter under a guru, a living guru. And text number 9, Bhima defeated Jarasandha. And because there is a nice story of Jarasandha, how he was taken birth. It's a very different type of birth activity of Jarasandha was described here. How demoness Jara has he was named after that her name, and similarly his child was called. So even this king who father of Jarasandha had Jarasandha after a long time. He didn't have children. So how Chandra Kaushika has given a benediction of so that Jarasandha has taken birth. Please also read this. Is an interesting story, and Krishna gave hints about Jarasandha's secrets, and that's how Bhima could defeat him and kill him. And we can understand without Krishna's support, it is very difficult for devotee to be successful. So offenders of Draupadi, last one is of verse 10 today for chapter number 15. Offenders of Draupadi were killed. Here, Krishna tolerates, here Dushasana insulted great devotee of the Lord, Draupadi. And Lord can tolerate insults upon himself by any miscreant because he's like a father to all of us. But he never tolerates insult upon his devotees. So by insulting a great soul, one has to forego. This is very important principle, dear devotees. By insulting a great soul, one has to forego all the results of pious acts and benedictions also. All the pious acts we have done. We have visited Vrindavan, we have visited Mayapur, did so much of rounds of chanting. All we have to forego if we insult a Vaishnava. And Dushasana's miscreant behavior of insulting was insulting great devotee like Draupadi was taken by Krishna so seriously that he decided to loosen the hair of all the wives of the Dusyasana and co in the company in the Kurukshetra war. He got everyone beheaded in the war, and they were killed. And we can understand how Krishna Krishna actually takes care of devotees, and what we should be aware of by understanding this particular principle here. Thank you so much for devotees. Hare Krishna.
Very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Nice class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.